And we're live.
Matt Gaetz. I was starting to talk about.
Oh, Gaetz, yeah.
Dude, so his, I'll call him his co-conspirator, his buddy, who was like paying the underage whores or whatever. People got mad when I called women who take money for sex whores. Okay.
Sex worker.
Yeah, I guess. But
I think they were saying it because those underage girls aren't the ones getting the money. It's their pimps who are taking advantage of them and forcing them into that position. So like the underage girl herself isn't the one getting the money. It's some guy.
And that makes them not whores? I don't know. I'm very confused.
Definitely not. It's a woman trapped into being sexually exploited.
That isn't, they contact, not in the Matt Gaetz situation.
I thought she was an underage girl that was coerced into having to do these things.
But there's no pimp involved or anything. They picked her up like at college directly. I think she put herself on websites and like I'm pretty sure there's no pimps involved. But
I'm not. You're much closer to it. So
yeah. Anyway, what's new is that his partner in crime has pled guilty to this thing, or he's going to plead guilty, and his statement got out saying that like, yes, we absolutely gave money to these girls, and there was one who was 17, and they had, I'm almost sympathetic to Matt Gaetz because they had no idea she was 17. She looked like a college age kid. If you're in college, you're probably 18. All her friends were college age kids. She said she was a college age kid, so she lied about her age. All her friends were in college. She said she was in college, and they, I guess, paid her expenses and took her out and fucked her, and she fucked the other girls, and it was quite the party. Mm-hmm. And then later they find out she was 17, and it's like,
and that's not the age in Florida. It's 18 in Florida, right?
I think when you pay them, it's extra bad if they're under 18. I'm actually not positive about that. Yeah. And you're kind of right. If it's a girlfriend situation, it might have just been straight up legal. Yeah. But it doesn't.
What does it mean for him? Like what's coming down the pike? I feel like these
it almost never turns into anything,
these fucking
right?
Politicians, it's a huge oh my god, and then nothing happens. They just do whatever they want all the time.
Right. I wonder if it even hurt. So he's in a safe Republican district. Is he even going to get primaried? Like, Matt Gaetz is loved in many Republican circles. He's very popular. You know, he's very pro-Trump. If you like Trump, you like Matt Gaetz. Like, those two are hand in hand. And a lot of people like Trump. So I don't even know if he's in danger of not getting reelected, even though he literally had sex with underage girls.
The media will drop it at some point. Like all the offensive shit where they like hold him to the fire. It's like, oh my goodness, fucking Governor Cuomo, he was hiding deaths. Oh, he's getting accused of it. That's gone. I haven't seen that in a while. Nothing's going to come of it. The blackface Virginia governor. Oh my God, the biggest to do. Oh, gone. Nobody cares. Like they make a big to do. They get their clicks, they get their ratings, and then.
It's almost like you can only get canceled if you agree to it. You have to submit to the canceling. If you just say, actually, no, then they're like, oh, well, okay.
Take Masterson's advice. Never apologize, because the people that are trying to get you to apologize aren't doing it because they're earnest. They're doing it because they're trying to get you to admit fault. And once you've admitted fault, then they can go hog wild. That's the way this works.
It sounds rightish. Yeah. They tried to cancel Trump 1,000 times, and he was just always like,
fuck you.
Fuck you. Two, here's another thing to talk about.
Well, I mean, they did cancel Trump in the end. They banned him from all social media, and while he was the sitting president, no less. They got rid of him from everything. It's just really that what that elucidates is how much big tech is like. They're so unbelievably powerful, and it's just
once
a bunch
he
of
lost the election,
and
they stopped treating him like the president.
Well, I mean, they literally don't let him communicate to anyone now. Like no one will platform him.
Facebook, I think so, right?
No, Facebook. They kicked the can down the road a little bit, but like they banned him, and then they like reviewed it, and they decided to review it again 6 months from now. I think I have that right.
Is Parler still a thing?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I mean, there's no way for any, like, and you see a lot of these people like, we have to go to alt tech. And it's like, are you retarded? You think that these alt tech platforms have any chance of unseating Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Google? Like, you're delusional. The government and those companies are incestuous. Like they're not gonna be like, oh, there's a new free speech platform and we're gonna get behind that. Like no, like the board is set, the pieces are there. That's what we're working.
That the government is tied into which platforms become popular. I think it's incredibly difficult to unseat them. It happens every once in a blue moon. MySpace was beat by Facebook, and eBay seems to be beaten by Facebook.
That was before the politicization of the politicization. Is that the word of it? Like when MySpace was unseated, it was because it was purely just a, hate to say the free market shit, but like Facebook was better. It was better. Whereas with this, like, yeah, these big companies are the biggest donors in many cases to politicians, and so like they're going to support them regardless. Like Mark Zuckerberg didn't pour $300 million into get out the vote for Democrats in Georgia to lose money. He's not the guy that's gonna. It's like, oh my God, you're gonna pay higher taxes.
Put $300 million into the Georgia election.
Yeah, to get out the vote in Georgia, and so like these guys are not the ones paying the taxes at the end of the day. Like it may be, higher taxes for businesses. Really, you think Facebook, Instagram, and Google are going to be paying those taxes? They've got a million shell companies everywhere, and they're not paying shit. Like it's just going to hurt middle class.
When I worked at Cisco, I was involved in a project on that. Basically, we took all our sales over the internet in America, and they're like, we can avoid taxes by taking these systems, making a copy of them in like outside America and Europe and here and there, and then any sales that like didn't actually happen in America no longer pay American taxes, and that was a big thing, which I guess is the legal right way to do it, but it's still avoiding American taxes.
It's the legal way. But is that legal loophole there because it makes sense, or because a bunch of rich people like lobbied for that to be made?
I can argue that it makes like. So if I make a product in whatever Taiwan and sell it to Amsterdam, why are American taxes being paid?
I mean, if it's a company based here.
Okay, so you think America should get a piece of all the companies based here?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, they're definitely getting some benefit from it, from being an American company where the R&D happened, where the education for these products was created, etc. They're typically American engineers who are inventing this shit. Like, there's an argument for what you said. There's an argument against it too. Like this sale had nothing to do with America. I have to leave America if you're going to take a piece of everything, because I can't make something in Ireland and sell it to England and then pay American taxes. How's that what'd you even have to do with this? So
yeah, and that's fair enough too. I'm too stupid to know how all that shit should work out.
Me too.
I feel like the biggest fear of American business right now is like, if we make them pay taxes, they're going to go to China or India or Europe. They're not going to stay here.
They were doing that. Yeah. There was like kind of an exodus where companies would go to Ireland was a big one.
Right.
You got to put punishments on them. You got to be like, oh, you're going to outsource? Really? You're going to remove a lot of American jobs? Okay, well, here's the tariffs or whatever you're going to be paying to get your product back in. And you make it so much of a punishment that they have to keep jobs here. And if that makes products a bit more expensive, like at least all the middle class people who worked here and were getting their salaries, like that's more beneficial to them.
Valid.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. You
need to make it.
I need to think a little longer about it. Like, what are if you have real punishments for not hiring American, then you're subsidizing American workers in a way by making foreign workers more expensive. Could that make American workers less competitive? Like, that's the problem, right? Like, if outside workers suddenly cost an extra $30 an hour for no real reason, then we get to be $30 an hour less productive before we break it even, and that might make us suck or be uncompetitive and have poorly run manufacturing plants or whatever.
I mean, we barely have any manufacturing plants of anything because it's all been outsourced that way. And what we've seen is that the outsourcing of that destroys middle class towns and working class people. And so like if goods are a bit more expensive because you have to levy these things, that's way preferential to like entire towns in like Pennsylvania and the Rust Belt being hollowed out because there's no longer any jobs. Like that's tremendously inefficient and bad for us to And then now think of the cost of taking a bunch of people in the U.S. and putting them on effectively welfare. Their job has been taken. They're not highly educated. They can't jump somewhere else. You saw that bullshit journalist thing where they're like, oh, people are losing their jobs in Pennsylvania. Well, I'm a journalist, which means I was born in L.A. or New York and I'm rich. And, or Washington, D.C. I come from wealth. Learn to code, idiot. And it's like, how callous can you be? How fucking callous can you be to someone who spent their entire life in the same trade and then they're 42, 43, whatever it is, and it's torn out from under them? Learn to code? Fuck yourself. Like
Right.
that is unbelievably callous. And
I like Andrew Yang's line on it. He's like, the people who think that coal miners should learn to code have had neither of those jobs. And it's like, yeah.
That's so true. That's so
Very valid.
And like, I just hate that coastal, especially journalist thing where it's just shitting on working class people. They'll pretend like we're working class fighting people. We're fighting against the establishment. It's like, really? You work for the Washington Post, owned by the richest man in world history. You're fighting the establishment? Really?
You wake up at noon, look on the fucking computer for 2 hours and write for 2 hours and get paid for $40 an hour for it. Like,
yeah, and maybe not even that much, but it's like, man, you're really fighting the system. You tweeted 13 times since 9 a.m. and it's 10. So yeah, I'm sure you're really grinding it out hard against the establishment. It's just it's annoying. It's annoying to see that. Just the absolute derision and hate that a lot of people you see on the coast have for like normal people in Pennsylvania and the Rust Belt who have these jobs that they see as like, oh, lesser than. I would never do that. I would never work on a pipeline. Really? If that was your only option, you're not educated and you don't come from wealth, you wouldn't work on the pipeline to provide for your family.
it's like that's what they were born into.
Both
Pipeline
ways,
pays
right?
well.
I think the pipeline guys hate the coastal guys just as much.
True.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I would say that their hatred is more accurate because do those coastal guys, or I'm sorry, one of those sides has huge amount of reach and voice in the media, augmented, and the other side are dirt farmers who don't have any institutional power whatsoever. And so like it's absolutely a mismatch as far as influence.
I hear you. I mean, I learned to code and I didn't feel like I had anyone helping me. Like I worked in a group with like trying to get the numbers right. My group had like 20 people. There were like 18 non-Americans. And it's like, I'm not getting any protection here. We're straight up importing people from India to get all these jobs. We're like, I'm not feeling like I'm some influential media person who's getting all these benefits. I'm under attack left and right with pressure to lower wages. And, like this is a tricky job that not everyone can do.
For sure. And don't think that I was saying coastal, like I was talking specifically about like the way that I see journalists treating those people, not other people on the coast, like hardworking people like you.
Hardworking. I did have a ping pong table.
He's
work.
one of them.
You did have a hardworking. Yeah, you're dominating fucking Venetian ping pong every day.